Good morning, friends. It's Nancy. I have a flip through of an envelope flip-flop journal that I started months and months and months ago. But I finally got around to completing it. I just put the last piece of paper on it in just 10 minutes ago. So it is raring. I finally filled it with ephemera, some of the stuff I've been working on since the beginning of this year, and so some things are going to look familiar, and let's get started. So I followed the instructions of Beth Walden. I will have to put a link below to make the base of the envelope flip-flop, and I stuck with just very neutral papers when I created it. I was thinking that I would just put it away as sort of an exemplar so that I would know how to make one again in the future. I'm just mindful that maybe not the whole thing's showing, so let's... Are we there? I think we're there. Okay. So it's the size of a large business envelope, which is 9 5/8 by 4 1/4-ish. I've just tied it with this piece of chiffon. All right. So the first thing on the cover is a flip-flop. This card opens, so you can put journaling in there. That flips open, ample room for some journaling. This is a letter from 1938, actually February 14th, Valentine's Day. Then that envelope flips open, and here, one more. I have some lace here. I've backed it with some packing paper to make it easy to put little elements in. So this is an old postcard that I created. I cut it in half, punched a section out of the middle, added a photo. Here I have some various scraps of paper, a little bit of fabric, and an old pearl button. Did a little bit of stamping. On this side, that is a piece of newspaper, I think. I want to say from 1911-ish. Here is a little circle tag that I made using vintage stamps. And that's an original document there. I just made this little decorative ticket. Here's another envelope. This one is from 1893, and it actually contains the original letter. I think it was a father, right? Yes, father's writing to his son. Look at that handwriting. So, I believe his son was at a military college at the time. And I've got quite a collection of this family's correspondence. So the son that was being written to, he eventually does go to Europe during the First World War. And I have some documents from that that I'm treasuring. This has some antique lace, some antique pearl buttons, a little bit of this is a transfer for embroidery. And I made this tag using a scrap of music, and then I just put a fussy cut on top. All right, now we go into the first flip. So yes, I did it right. Another envelope. This one's from 1946. Here's a genuine photo and some piece of a letter that I tore. I did a video for this embellishment. I made several like this. And this is just a piece of old paper that I folded and added a little stamp just tucked up under there. I reinforced the spine of this envelope by adding a piece of a letter. Here is, should get caught there. Okay. Here is an antique postcard from 1912. I put a fussy cut of a big tulip there and added this extra piece of paper so that it could be, you could still read the message on the back and appreciate the postmark and the stamp, but you also have a place to journal. This was definitely in the big book of ideas. There's a playlist, so go have a look at that. Piece of a encyclopedia. Whoa. Showing the Leaning Tower of Pisa. Here is a piece of packing paper. This is all genuine ephemera there. An old stamp. This is an old ticket. This came from a dry cleaner. There's a cigarette card there. And I believe these stamps came from a Supermarket Green Stamps book. Old piece of ledger. Oh. And that you can tuck something in there. I love this photo. I don't know if I will ever part with it. So it's this group of girls. There's one younger boy there. It looks 1910s. And they all look worse for wear. Some of them got their eyes closed. This one looks like she drank her margarita too fast and got a brain freeze. I love that picture. This was from a postcard. Here's one of those tags that I made using the Tim Holtz portraits. And a masterboard of old checks. I have this little tuck spot here made from a collage of laces and a fussy cut of a butterfly. Oh, this is from an old receipt book. This is an old invoice, not an invoice, but an estimate. I think it was an estimate. Oh, yeah, probably an estimate. This is from the early 1900s. And this is a telegram to Australia from the 1958. This is a business reply envelope to a typewriter company, and I've just added a little bit of a collage here with some handwritten notes and a fussy cut of a typewriter from a very old magazine. And I made these two tags by using cutting tag shape from the postmark on old envelopes, and this was from a postcard. So this one's 1920, and that one's 1976. And then a flip. what's the date on that? 1933 to this envelope. This came from an old encyclopedia. I just did a paper ruffle there. Added some lace. This is sort of a waterfall notebook kind of thing, but it has an old letter from 1910. That's also a letter from 1910-ish. And then some other papers. Oh, I should mention, this is, oh, that's not what I was going to say. Calm down, Nancy. This is some, I don't know, some kind of machine drafting thing. This is also from my big book of ideas. This was an idea I stole from Pixie K Designs. So this is an old book page, old rag book page that I've added some texture paste to. It's an English law book from the late, I believe from the late 1700s. And then there's this tea-dyed paper. So just, you know, a place to add some extra journaling. This came from an antique greeting card. So this piece of like vellum-ish kind of thing. And it has hand-painted rose. And that's an old paperclip. This came from a book about stamps, collecting stamps. I tea-dyed it. I love how it turned out. This is a big tag that I made from 1895 journal. There's the date there. And I just added, you know, some of that German paper tape, a ticket from I want to say a bus company, some antique lace. This came from an antique calling card, and did some messy stitching. And there's the back. It has some tea-dyed paper for journaling. And this is a little piece from Broken Jewelry, and an old paperclip. This is from a design of for making, I don't know, forget it. There's another telegram. This would have been, yeah, 1910. And inside, here's another letter. This is from 1919. Oh, this is for details of a tall clock. Here's another little collage that I did, and it includes a stamp, piece of a postcard. This is a label from Piano Roll Box, and it's also a tuck spot. This is from a 1915 ledger. Another piece of lace here that is backed with some wrapping or packing paper so that it's easy to stick a tag into. So this tag was made with piano paper, and I've added some stenciling, and it has a little pocket that I've just tucked this extra piece of paper in there for journaling. Okay, that's the back. Now we're going to flip again. This is an old bulldog clip. Oh, isn't that great? That's the flap of the envelope. I love that. This is a card. I've added some old scraps of paper to it. And then put the bulldog clip back on. Notebook paper, a little bit of a Franken paper, using a guest book page and then lengthening it with some old music and some an embossed piece of a letter. I think I intended to glue that there. And then didn't. This is from very old magazine, late 1800s. And there's another piece of that jewelry that I tore apart and gleaned some goodies from. And it's holding the back of this envelope, which I've strengthened with a piece of light card, added some glassine and a little fussy cut. I backed this magazine page with a letter. I flipped it upside down and glued it to that magazine just to strengthen it. Didn't want the letter itself to be all that exciting, so excuse me. So it is. That's why I flipped it backwards. Some old notebook. I need to cough. Sorry. All right. Some old notebook paper. This is an altered postcard, altered paper clip. So you pull this postcard away, and here's a little some space for hidden journaling. Let's see if I can get this back together. It's hard to do when you're trying to keep everything in place. All right. That's an old turn of the century greeting card, postcard. Tea-dyed piece of an account ledger. This is a letter from 1910, handwritten. And on this side, I've got a little bag, and this is a calling card from Mrs. E.O. Miller. I've added some antique lace and an antique pearl button. It just goes in that little paper bag. And then here's another tag. This is vintage. I've added some lace and a little rusty pin. And it just goes right back in that bag. Oops. Oh, okay, it wasn't a big deal. I think this was cut from an envelope, this piece of paper. And I've added this little tuck spot here that has some vintage wallpaper, an old stamp. This came from the back of a spine, like an internal piece of a book. That can also be a little tuck spot here, so did a little collage there. And flip. This is just some collage here, including some pieces of old postcard and book page and various things. Here's a little tuck spot here. Again, I've used part of an envelope, part of a postcard, an old dictionary, and this is a piece of ledger to decorate the front of this journaling spot. There's a pressed flower. I think I got this pressed flower out of a book That was something I bought, and this was in it. And there's journaling space on the back. An old music page. Here is a collage of old papers. And I added this image from a book. And there's space on the back for journaling. This letter is from 1913. It says memorandum from the George Pattinson Company. This came from, I believe, a Chinese book that I've tea-dyed. Here's a postcard. That's the image on the back. Or on the front, I guess. But on this side, I did some watercolors and added this fussy cut flower. And then it just slides right up there in that little clip. This came from, well, that's an old cigarette card, player's cigarette card. This came from an old vintage greeting card. I added another scrap of paper and a word, and that's a stamped image there. This is, oh, I thought it was a tuck spot. Well, it is a tuck spot. It's got this long tag in it. And let's slide it right back where it came from. And now we're back at the front of the journal again. So I hope you thought that was kind of an interesting little journal. Let's glue that in place. This is a label from a box. And again, we have some scraps of paper. We'll just do this last little finishing touch. All right. So if this is a journal that's interesting to you and you'd like to take a look at it on my Etsy shop, see if it's something you'd like to add to your collection, it should be there right now. Have a look, and thank you so much for watching this flip through. I will do my darndest to give you some helpful links down below, including the link to the instructions to make this that I followed from Beth Walden. I'm trying to think of her channel. It has Beth in the title. Anyway, I'll put that below, as well as the playlist for the big book of ideas. Some of these projects are from this one here. This letter is from the 100-day project. I was going through a box of ephemera and making it into usable items for my journals. And I wanted to use up some of this fun old ephemera that I've been collecting over the last couple of years. All right, I've talked enough. Thank you so much again. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button. If you're not already a subscriber, I'd appreciate a little join. And you can always follow me over on Instagram. Take care. We'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.